Okay, I think we're live and we got 25 seconds in, so it should give us a little bit of buffer, and I'll stop waving my hands around so that things are okay and we don't get a lot of blur and lag. I thought I'd do a quick catch-up video, and I don't know how long this will run for, or just be whatever it is, and happy to take questions or whatever the case may be, although some of you don't have questions, you like to just kind of lurk, so welcome lurkers. I thought I would catch up on a little bit on travel and the Waterloo experience, and then touch base on gameplay and where we're at over at the big board and what's going on and all that sort of fun stuff, and what's coming up, because we've got a Christmas break and all that sort of fun stuff kind of going to interrupt an already interrupted schedule, I guess, is where I'm headed with all that. So Waterloo, first off, was a somewhat unique experience. I have been to Gettysburg and Manassas and two or three other Civil War battlefields, and I found that they were very large and spread across broad areas, and battles really moved to and fro over a pretty extensive area over an extensive period of time. And Waterloo is really condensed down into a very finite. It's getting warm in here. I've got a little personal heater beside me. It's kind of cool here today. It's not cold, but it's cool. And anyway, so it was very condensed, and I found this fascinating that so many troops were in such a small area, and I was wondering why it was such a surprise to me, because the battlefield on the maps typically looks much bigger, whether it's 75 meter a hex or 200 yards a hex or larger, whatever it may be. It still felt like a more expansive space, and that really kind of surprised me. And it was nice to get a general feel from a generalist historian who has been doing battlefield tours for a decade, and in particular doing the Waterloo, so he has his spiel down, but he was happy to take commentary and questions and had a lot of cool anecdotes and stuff like that. And I'm going to get to comments in just a sec. Welcome those that just joined. And so I really enjoyed the visual representation of the battlefield, so much different than the ACW stuff that I've seen. Very much a, literally rolling, undulating pastures and little steep drop-offs and Roman roads that were still in use at the time, and are still used today. In fact, some of them have been resurfaced, but still used as they were. In fact, Plassano, I think it is, still has all the cobblestone roads from the Roman era to slow traffic down. They decided to keep it that way. And lots of parts of Brussels still have the really rough roads as well, just because, it works. So the battlefield, there's some disappointments in it with the Lion's Hill, Lion's Mound, or whatever, sort of changing the terrain and the topography fairly significantly. But a little bit of imagination and a couple of maps in your hand, you can see what was probably going on there fairly accurately. So I really enjoyed that experience. Really brought crystal clear to my mind some of the poor decision making that went on for both sides. Some of the poor and just the courage and bravery of the soldiers, or foolhardiness, whatever the case may be, of these men that would march into the jaws of death like that. Just staggering. Very different than today, which is, you don't know you're being shot at half the time before you're dead, right? Or you're blown up by an IED, or whatever the case may be. So, really enjoyed it. I'd encourage you, if you have a chance to travel at all, to take the time to do a tour. And there are tours you can take that are guided in groups, or whatever the case may be. It was really crappy weather when I was there, so there was no one else there, so I had to do it to myself. So that was kind of nice. And I think one of the things that has always attracted me to the Waterloo situation, and in fact, some of the ACW battles that kind of intrigue me that but I haven't really played many of those, is there was a reasonable amount of potential for maneuver in this battle, and that really struck home to me that there were some missed opportunities there, right? So that was kind of cool. All right, so I guess that's Waterloo. I will be putting together I recorded a lot of what the chap had to say, and I have maybe 75 or 80 photographs, and I'll try and mush all that together over the next couple of weeks. And I'll post that up online, and it'll be a video with some, a video of pictures and audio content for you to have a look at. So that might be interesting. Might spark some commentary. So games, what's going on in the gaming world? Obviously I have the next war going on, and in fact it's right here. So we're still set up and nothing was damaged or disrupted while I was away. Actually, before we jump into that, let's see the questions or comments real quick. Hey Devin, what's going on? Greg, good to see you, man. And yeah, Bill and John. All right, Aaron, Tony, you're here as well. Okay, good stuff. Okay, so some regulars. Good to see you guys. I really enjoy doing this kind of format. I wish there was a way that we could have you talking with me as well. It'd be cool. But doing it on a phone like this is just very, very convenient and easy to do. So I appreciate you joining in. Hey, there we go. Good on you, Greg. So let's see. So the next war, I'm enjoying it. I can see the creaky history in it, the pseudo history, the assumed history, the 78 doom and gloom. I think this was before we got out of underneath of the CIA horrible assessments that it was all doom and gloom, and we're all going to be destroyed and we're all going to be dead. In fact, I think it was Herbert Walker Bush that became the CIA director and kind of brought a somewhat sunnier, rosier view to the intel assessments that were starting to come out of the CIA post this, I think. What does that have to do with the game? Absolutely nothing. Just a little tidbit. I'm enjoying the game and I'm going to keep playing, but I have a sneaking suspicion that the Soviets are kind of screwed and it's going to be difficult for them to do very much just because of the way the rules work. I found a couple of little things in the rules that impact how flak is run. Makes it very difficult for the Soviets to wipe out the US air, but I still see massive attrition battles occurring in the air. And I think it was such a difference that the chap that plays a lot, I forget his name now, he does the War Without KIA blog, and I'm sorry for forgetting your name, buddy, but that's a game changer for him. He thinks that'll somewhat ruin the game for him. Anyway, so there's that, and we'll get to that. I need to kind of crank along here a little bit, don't I? I've got the Punic War from SBI, S&T magazine thing up on the wall. I'm playing that, haven't posted very much about it. I'm just going to finish it, and then we'll post the story that comes out of that. I've got the Bonaparte in Italy up and running. I'm now onto the second turn of that. I had to reset it and fix it all up and then change the way it worked because the mechanics of it in terms of the interface, just because I'm using Pollard counters instead of this sheet that sits on the side. I found it too awkward to try and keep track of the forces. So we're doing that. The counter attacked it, so we had to reset. Playing turn 3 of Dead Reckoning, which is a Herman Luttman game from Tiny Battles. Encourage you to try out Herman Luttman games. He has a new ACW series that I think he's now on his 3rd title. And most of those are available from Revolution Games. He just pulled his game from GMT and put it over with them, and that'll be hitting the printers pretty soon. You can check all those out. There's the 3 titles with them now, I believe, and they're doing really good things, Revolution, right now. So I played Siege of Orgun last night or the night before. Very good game, Opposed. It's kind of the Storm Over series style game system. We ran into a few little issues with raids. They seem to be very, very powerful, so we'll see what happens with that. I think one of us is going to post some questions about raids and how they work. Seemed a little too strong for the Mudge. I've got that Solo Agricola up, or Agricola up, depending on how your what Latin you learned. And I haven't really got into it enough to say whether I even am impressed or unimpressed. So once I get into that game a little bit more, we'll have a conversation about it. It's a solo game, and I'm not a huge solo game fan, but I think it's got some merits to it that are probably worth a look. Let's see. I'm playing Red Winter, and I played BFN briefly over the weekend, 2 or 3 turns, and then I played it about a month ago or 2 months ago. And I mentioned those 2 games in parallel because I've become very interested in deepening my understanding of operational art of maneuver, or whatever you want to call it, operational art of war. And I thought the scenario we had picked was going to give me an opportunity to explore with BFN, to explore the operational art a little bit. There were some maneuver things that you could do in that scenario. Ends up that's not the case. It's just smash mouth, drive down the road, beat the shit out of your opponent, and whoever rolls best wins. Yeah. So we'll see what comes. We're going to try and find another scenario to play, and maybe that will allow us to do a little bit more maneuver stuff. Finding the center of gravity, whether that be physical or moral, finding the means with which to preempt your enemy, or dislocate your enemy, or disrupt your enemy, and getting inside their decision loops. I find that fascinating in war games and how that can be represented. And in Red Winter, I found that that's a game that is really given me an opportunity to explore and experience some of the finer points. Oh, that's so good. Damn, that's good. Manhattan. Explore, and it's kind of early, but fuck it, I'm in the mood. I was on the wagon up until last night for 10 or 12 days, so seems only fair. Didn't have a drink through Thanksgiving. So here's to me. And so exploring the finer points, and some of these games, Red Winter is letting me do that against my opponent and preempt his decisions and get inside his decision loop, his decision cycle, and force him to react to my gameplay, which is a fascinating position to be in. And you can really see the difference when that happens. You start to build up that creates its own momentum, and that reactionary, taking someone out of their comfort zone of what they're expecting to play and seeing where you end up is really, really cool. So I'm digging that. I'm going to check in on comments real quick here. Hey Mike, good to see you, buddy. Travel safe. Oh, Greg, well, you're welcome to come over here anytime and have a drink. Yeah, look, I like doing Google Hangouts, by the way, but I can't do it on my phone, and I can't. I can do it on my phone, I guess. I'm choosing to do it this way because I do a lot of live play this way, so this has just become a convenience for me. So yes, we'll do some Google Hangouts at some point in the near future. Saturday night at 7 p.m., we will be doing there's a link on the big board on Facebook and on my website that you can join in. Only 8 of you. It's a limit of 8 on this. It's kind of a combo hangout. It's like a hangout, basically, but it's 8 people only to kind of conserve bandwidth, and it's locked at 8, and you can't have any more than that. There's already 2 or 3 people that will be joining in. I know Devon's going to join us. And Marco will be there, and I'll be there, and maybe Eric Walters, former Marine Colonel or Major or something like that. So it'd be kind of cool. Anyway, so this maneuver stuff. Hang on one second. I gotta turn the heat down. I'm burning up here. This maneuver stuff is fun, and I'm digging the opportunity when I see it in games to use, instead of fighting battles of attrition, fight battles that either isolate and destroy the enemy because of supply rules, or take out key parts of someone's army such that they're really combat ineffective without them. So, for instance, as in this game, if you can destroy flak and artillery units in the next war, you can have a very detrimental effect on the Soviet capability to fight. Obviously, playing solo, it's a little difficult to second guess yourself there. But the Soviets are doing a good job of keeping their arties safe anyway, so there's not a lot of opportunity for the maneuver stuff here. There is plenty of maneuver. It's just restricted by the terrain to a certain extent. Fatigue tends to start to play a role, and the combat doesn't lend itself to being as destructive as perhaps you might think. So that's kind of quick summation of what we're playing. What else did I say? BFN, Next War, Punic War. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much everything. Coming up, I'm probably going to be gone from the 15th through the 27th, and I won't be here, but I am going to take some magazine games with me, and I'll try and post a few pictures perhaps, but I won't be able to do very much live video because where I'm going to be, there's not a lot of bandwidth. So and that'll be vacation time, kind of family time, so it'll be smaller games, and hopefully I get my kids to play something with me when they're trapped in the house alone without too much technology, so that'll be fun. But hopefully I'll get a lot of playing done and then write some stuff up while I'm gone, hopefully get some articles finished. I've got 20 or 30 different topics that are kind of half done, and if we get 5 or 6 of those done, then we'll have some content for the blog, because I have 0 coming up. So that's kind of what's going on. If you guys have questions or thoughts, pop in and say something. Yeah, that, Greg, that's a really good that's a really good question. I think some of the MMP titles really do lend themselves well to maneuver warfare. So clearly OCS does, with the supply tail that you've got to take care of as well. I think TCS does to a certain extent, particularly if they're 2 mappers or more. They lend themselves to that. I love the Napoleonic system from Zucker. That is the Days series, so the 1X, 2X, 7 Days of Glory, 6 Days of Glory, that type of stuff. So that map there is from that system. And they really give you that kind of evolutionary operational art of war stuff. You're not going to find it in a bulge game, really, although you can, because once again, it's not just about maneuver. It's also about drawing the player and fixing the player and then flanking the player. So that can happen in tactical games, obviously enough, but can also happen at battalion level and divisional level. I even pulled the stunt once with Supreme Commander one time. But more just got lucky with the rules, the way the amphibious landings worked. I think they tweaked them since then. So I think there's plenty of systems out there. We just got to dig them out, find them. I'm not with Napoleonics. I'm not that interested in whether I've got to face a unit a certain way and roll 5 times for morale before I get to go and have close assault. That's all just kind of bullshit. I don't need to be a battalion commander. I want to be a general and move the stuff around the board. Trying to think of some other games that might, I'm looking around the room, that might lend itself to that. So I think it's a challenge. There's, as you say, and as I said, and as you have pointed out, there are a lot of games that are just smash mouth where we get in there and it's a factor hunting, pecking, finding the right stack to attack, and away you go. Oh, you know what was good? Sometimes the Victory in the West system can be like that as well. So the new Fall Blau, we pulled a good maneuver situation in that. SPW, we pulled. When I say we were playing in teams. We pulled a great maneuver on the enemy in Tannenberg scenario. Feinted one way, then left some units in place in another, and then attacked deep, and then broke through and created all sorts of havoc in the back. So much so that the guys failed their morale check. Right, they quit. They said, "Okay, you guys win." So those types of opportunities are really cool when they come together. When they don't, it's a disaster. That's the difference between risk and danger, right? Where you gotta go, okay, I'm gonna take this risk, knowing that you are weakening one area to pull off something significant somewhere else, versus danger being a dumbass and attacking a 1-to-1. So lots of comments rolling in here. Well, it's not that I'm disappointed with PCS. Wife wants to see that drinking glass. Okay, there we go. If you find these, please let me know. These were a wedding gift, and I've got 2 left. 3, but one has a big chip in it. And there were 6, and it's a big, thick piece of heavy glass, and then this really fine piece of glass here to drink from, and it works great. So you can stick that glass in ice and really chill it. Anyway, BCS is disappointing from a user interface standpoint, but that's a whole nother story. We can talk about BCS some other time. I gotta be careful what I say about that, because I'm getting lectured by guys who are huge fans who've play tested for 10 years and they think I'm wrong, and that's fine. The game could and should have had divisional stripes, and I don't care how many divisions there are way more colors, and there are ways to use 2 colors or 3 colors or checks or boxes or circles or whatever to denote which divisions are which. It ends up becoming a big blurry mess on the board, and I would like to see future games have divisional stripes. And if future games are going to have 4 maps and dozens of formations, I ain't buying it. But I will buy Kasserine when it comes out and play that and try it. Lots of innovative mechanics in that system, so I'm very excited about it. I'm just not thrilled with the way you interact with it, with the physical components. On Vassal, it's great because you click a button and you can see your formation and everything's highlighted. Interesting. Maybe it was designed for Vassal. All right, I probably got to roll. I got family coming home any second, and I'm over my jet lag, so I feel like I should try and play a game. I haven't really played very much in the last 2 weeks. Since I got back. I guess, when was Thanksgiving? Was it 2 weeks ago already? So there you go. Need to get rolling some dice. Talk to you guys soon. I hope you all have an awesome day and a great weekend. And I will be around this weekend and look forward to catching up with all of you. Oh, here we go. One last question. Or is it a comment? Good for you, Greg. You should do that. All right. Hopefully, John, you got to see the glass, and this will be up on the blog so you can check it out later on. All right. Cheers, guys. I'm going to wait a few seconds and then stop because it seems that I cut myself off.